Welcome to another episode of Menopause Matter, where we come together to help you on this challenging period. As we all know, menopause can be fun, exciting, and draining. Yes, we understand we're experiencing so many different symptoms, and it can just feel like that our life is not in our control anymore. We hear you, and that's why that we have different expertise coming on every Tuesday to come and support you on this. Today, I have a specialist here, Sheryl. Thank you so much for being on our space today. Please tell us who you are and what you do.
Thank you. I'm so pleased to be here. I always see all the chat that goes on in the group. So it's amazing how you bring different people on to speak about this. So I am an integrative health practitioner and women's wellness and performance coach. So I am an ex-chartered accountant and spent many, many years in banking, and then I changed careers, and the catalyst to that was unfortunately losing a very good friend to bowel cancer at the age of 35. And that set me off on a path to understand what true health really meant.
Mm,
And through doing that, I realized that this is actually my passion. So, I turned a really devastating experience in my life into my mission to support women to
mm,
step into their potential. Because I think, exactly as you say, so many women suffer because they disconnect to their bodies, they don't understand what's going on in their bodies. And actually, there's so much we can do that's in our control to feel better. So I specialize in women age 35 plus, but obviously help anyone who's interested in optimizing their health and wellness.
Definitely, because I feel like that once our hormone changes, we change as well. A lot of the times that we don't know what is actually going on. And I hear it from a lot of women. How come I'm feeling such short films? Like, how come that I'm actually feeling this way? So if I may ask for your expert guidance, how do hormone changes during the menopause period affect our body? And in what ways nutrition can help those effects?
Yes, definitely. And I think that's the thing that women often don't know. There's a lot more awareness coming into the space now. But I initially thought, back in the day, that perimenopause, menopause, actually, I didn't even know what perimenopause was in the early years, but that menopause is just woohoo, no more periods, can't fall pregnant, unprotected sex, yay! But actually, our hormones do so much in our bodies under the scenes. They're hormone receptors all over our body. And it's only when our hormones start to change that we start to notice all the things that they've been doing for us. I think before, when we're in our prime reproductive years, we curse our hormones because maybe, we get sore breasts or we're a little bit irritable, but actually our hormones are doing so much for us in the context of muscle health, bone health, mental and emotional health, so much support of our brain, our immune system, our levels of inflammation, our vaginal health, our microbiome. It's like literally a whole body affair. And that's why women can feel so out of control, because they don't necessarily connect the dots between their symptoms and the fact that their hormones are changing. And just
Mm,
to highlight that the phase of perimenopause can start as early as the age of 35. So the first hormone to go down is progesterone, which is the lovely calming hormone that helps us keep that rage in check in the second half of our cycle, helps us not get super heavy bleeding. It's like the calming factor. And so we start to lose that first. And then the second hormone to go on a bit of a roller coaster towards menopause, which is just defined as one day when we haven't had a period for a year, which is the average age of that is 51. So it's a long
mm.
time that we're in this journey. Um, that's where things can feel quite problematic. People call it the messy middle. The messy middle is perimenopause, and then when you're on the other side, things can start to settle down as well.
Definitely, definitely. I find that's where the confusions come in.
Mm.
It's like that our whole body have changed, and then for some reason we feel all weird. And some of us even find that certain food actually make us feel different as well. Like for example, a lot of people have told me that they feel different with sugar. I'm started to develop like an addiction to spice and chili and hot. It's the only thing that it can make me feel like that there's something in my mouth. So I definitely notice a taste change as well.
Yeah, so the sugar issue is, so one of the other things that estrogen does for us is it makes us more insulin sensitive.
Mm,
So what it does is it allows our insulin to pull the glucose out of our bloodstream into our cells.
mm,
So we become less able to do that. So we just become more what's called insulin resistant, and that can actually
mm,
be one of the reasons why women start to put on belly fat as well.
mm,
So, when we're talking about the nutritional strategies, the way that I like to talk about it is, so if we know that our hormones are ultimately going down, and our
mm,
hormones have been doing so much in the context of our metabolism, our muscle mass, our bone strength, our inflammation, what we have to do is really level up our lifestyle to be able to pick up the slack for what our hormones have done for us in the
yeah,
past. So, when it comes to our nutrition, like some of the key things we need to be thinking about is prioritizing protein. So, getting enough protein in one sitting a few times a day, 3 meals a day, getting at least at a minimum 30 grams of protein at each meal. So that is not a 30-gram piece of chicken, but it's like 130-gram chicken breast will equate to 30 grams of protein. So that's
mm,
very important because I very often see women under eating in protein. So that's number one. So that helps with so much from satiety to supporting our muscles. The amino acids are important for our hormone production, for our hair, for our nails, all the goodness. And then the next kind of pillar is supporting our gut microbiome
mm,
because our gut microbiome changes. So that's really thinking about getting in different types of plant food. So lots of different types of vegetables, herbs, good quality oils, coffee and tea are also included in that. Fruits, grains, legumes, if those work for you in terms of your digestion, because a lot of people find themselves less tolerant to grains as well. But we're really wanting to think about whole foods, moving away as much as possible from processed foods, which have, a high sugar content, lots of bad oils in them, artificial colors, flavors, all of that. So those are kind of the two key pillars. So the fiber with the diversity of plant food and the protein. And then the next pillar is good quality fat. So a lot of the processed food, as I mentioned, have things like seed oils in them, which are very inflammatory in nature. So they make us rust from the inside out. So
mhm,
aesthetically, we don't want that rusting happening, but it's obviously just not very good for us. So things like olive oil, coconut oil, avocado, nuts and seeds, etc., all really good, healthy versions of fat.
mm,
So
that's really good.
yeah.
That's great. So, can you explain how one should improve its diet during the menopause stage that can help us to lead to a better outcome? Because, like, I understand the non-processed food and all of that, but I also love that. What can I eat? Like the truth is, I'm not a rabbit. I keep telling me eating healthy. I'm like, I'm not a rabbit. I still wanted to enjoy life and things like that. What are some of the easiest things for menopausal women like myself to enjoy life but not killing ourselves at the same time?
So I always like to think about it like the 80-20 rule, right?
Mm,
So you want to be eating clean, healthy, whole foods, which can be delicious. It all depends on how you cook it. The
mm,
love that you pour into your food through the spices, the recipes that you're using, keeping things different as well. Like if you think about, going out for Thai food as an
mm,
example, you can make a Thai meal very, very healthily and still feel like you're having an indulgent meal.
mm,
It's okay to have obviously the odd takeout and that, but we really want to be, if we're wanting to keep the end goal in mind, which is feeling good in your body now, having the best, less problematic transition, and also thinking, I always like women to think about their 90-year-old selves,
mm,
eating in a way so that you are a healthy, independent, mobile, capable 90-year-old woman. We want to stay out of that nursing home. So what we do now in terms of how we eat, how we exercise, etc., really, really makes a difference.
mm,
So like that's the why behind it, because sometimes exactly as you say, you feel like, oh, I feel like I'm sacrificing so much.
Mm,
But when you connect to your why, it makes it a lot easier. And also when
mm,
you invest a bit of time in finding recipes that you really like that aren't, you probably like, oh, I'm so sick of a salad, a chicken and salad, like I'm done with that. But there's so many different things you can have, different variations that you can have. So what you can think about is if you picture a plate and however you want to make up the plate, you cut it down the middle, and you want half of the plate to be above the ground vegetables. So those are your leafy greens, cauliflower, capsicum, zucchini, all of those, leeks, etc. So the less starchy vegetables. So put in there what you want with different herbs, etc. A quarter of the plate to be your protein. But generally, I like women to measure it out or to get familiar with what a piece of protein looks like. That's 30
mm,
grams of protein. And then a quarter of the plate to be good quality carbohydrates. So that's
mm.
quinoa, like wild rice, sweet potatoes, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um, and then depending on the cut of meat or how you're doing your veggies, just making sure there's good quality fats in
yeah.
that as well. So that's kind of how to picture your plates and how to think about your meals. What I would say is if you are somebody who has higher levels of fasting insulin, you
Mm,
may need to cut back that carbohydrate amount for a period of time until you get that insulin level under control. So
yeah,
all you ladies need to just make sure you're on top of all your blood tests and everything.
yeah.
I've got a list of blood tests to ask for, so if anybody wants that, I'm happy to
Oh,
share. Because
that
sometimes,
would be good. That would be good.
yeah, because sometimes you go to the doctor and like, do me a whole workup, and they definitely don't test anything or everything that you want them to test.
Yeah. I will actually put it down in the comment to let everyone know that if you want the blood test list
Mm.
to look at and just put
Yeah, just
blood
to, yeah, yeah.
onto
I'm happy
here,
to
and
share
then
that.
people
Yeah,
can actually ask for that
just reach
onto
out
it.
to me. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Because like there's a lot of things that we don't know how to ask for. And that's when the confusion comes. It's like I hear a lot of ladies here, hey, who can give me a GP that can understand menopause and then all of that. But I find that from the older people I've been interviewing, a lot of the GP doesn't really know about menopause compared to what a natural therapist does.
Mm, mm. Yeah, because they have a very small like module on menopause, and it's only if they have an interest and they've gone in their spare time to study more do they know anything about it.
Mm,
So yeah, I agree with you. I think there's so many amazing books out there, listening to, series like this, just kind of keep listening and keep finding the things that resonate with you.
mm,
But I think, a lot of the comments that I see in the group and a lot of my clients, one of the main reasons they start to seek help, like yes, the moods, and maybe more anxiety and sleep, but it's the weight gain.
mm,
And women are like, oh, what is going on with me? I feel like I'm doing all the things and I'm just not, I just have this belly fat.
mm,
And so the things to think about there is that as we age, if we're not doing resistance training, we're losing our muscle mass.
mhm,
And then generally that gets replaced with fat.
mm,
And then if we have higher levels of insulin, your body is unable to go into fat burning mode.
mm,
So the way you're eating is one thing, the way you're exercising is one thing. Because generally when women feel like they want to lose weight, they just start pounding the pavement and doing those 10K runs, which is probably the worst thing to add. Like that can actually add to that belly fat situation. So we want strength training, we want short, sharp sprints, and making sure we're recovering enough. So those are two kind of pillars. And then obviously if you're not sleeping well, it's very, very hard to shift weight.
mm,
And if your stress levels are through the roof, your your body is pumping out cortisol and adrenaline, and with that comes like Mars bar amounts of glucose into your bloodstream. So even if you're eating perfectly, you could be getting these shoots of glucose into your bloodstream that then your body has to try and deal with. And that can generally add to that belly fat. So if you're carrying it around your tummy and around your back, that's generally the kind of the stress fat.
Oh
as
God,
well.
that's definitely me there. I have trouble sleeping now, and stress level can be to the roof sometimes. So that's some of the thing that I found it very challenging. So I have here a few people asking how to improve their sleep quality. At the moment, I'm using like sound wave app just to help me to sleep, to actually sleep. Either I feel like myself is either I drop, like not sleep, drop from exhaustion, or I can't sleep. These two are my main problem.
Okay. So just remembering that your hormone changes will impact your sleep. So those ladies who are in their cycling years,
Mm,
in the second half of your cycle, the drop in progesterone can impact your sleep. Because remember, progesterone is that lovely calming hormone that helps offset the estrogen. So if that is very low, that can be a
mm,
reason why you're struggling to sleep in that second half of your cycle. So number
mm.
one thing for all of you ladies who are struggling with sleep is to start to track it, because then
Ah,
you can start to see, well, okay, if I work late at night, I struggle to sleep. Okay, well, there's a root cause. Oh, well, I'm actually only struggling to sleep in the second half of my cycle. Oh,
mm,
wow. Okay, then I need to think about progesterone support, whether that's using a herb like Vitex, or making sure you're just fueling enough in that period, or even going to the doctor and starting to discuss bioidentical progesterone therapy. So that there's that. And then in the latter part of perimenopause, when estrogen starts to go down, it impacts our circadian rhythm. So there you can also get more disrupted sleep. You can get the early morning wake ups.
mm,
So really thinking about supporting your estrogen levels in whatever way feels right to you in terms of herbs, bioidentical hormone therapy. So that's purely the hormone lens,
mm.
and then tracking to see what's actually causing your sleep disturbances.
Yeah.
And then it's all about supporting your circadian rhythm.
Mm,
So getting a consistent sleep and wake time, getting natural light in the morning, making sure you're not exposed to your screens at night or getting blue blocking glasses, having a consistent calming sleep routine, making sure you're
mm.
not too hot. Like your sleep environment is essential. So if you have a snorer next to you, kick them out the bed, get your own blankets so that you're not fighting over blankets, or you don't get too hot. Using things like essential oils, supplements like magnesium glycinate at night can be very helpful just to calm everything down. But it's really, really dialing in your routines.
Mm.
And actually, like the way you eat is also very important in terms of setting you up for a good night's sleep. Like I've got an hour and a half masterclass on sleep, so it's quite hard to get it all in a few
Yeah.
minutes. But these are just things to start thinking about. So the starting point is tracking your
Mm.
habits and aligning that to your sleep. Because when you start to make changes as well, you also need to know if they're working for you or not, and
Yeah.
just be consistent for a period of time.
That is so true. We already have a few people saying that they want blood. They want the blood
Okay.
test into the chat there. So that is actually wonderful. I actually have Cheryl coming back to us in October, sharing her expertise in a webinar with us. So do watch out for her webinar on October the 3rd, which is in 4 weeks away. That is coming October the 3rd. I will put the details into the event page and also sharing on our page so you can register on her upcoming webinar. If this is actually good for you, it certainly answers a lot of questions that I have. I have
Good.
people who are commenting in the chat there say, yep, you're describing me to the T over here. Perfect. That's actually is the answer that we're looking for. So later on, I will have Cheryl to put down her chat list for us and put it into the comment for us to actually share later. Thank you, Cheryl, for sharing your expertise with us. It is a wonderful session that we just had, and it's so good to actually get to know you. And we look forward for your upcoming webinar too.
Yeah, I'm excited. So that's going to be, how long have we got? We've got an hour or deep dive on nutrition. So yeah,
Yes.
I look forward to doing that with you.
That will be fun. That will be fun. So thank you once again for all our audience and the listeners for joining us on Menopause Matter. I will look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye for now.
Bye.